Hey guys, I'm back with chapter 28, Mr. Kermit. So that is from his point of view. The minutes blur into hours, which blur into days, which blur into weeks. The first thing the condemned man loses is the sense of time. I don't think we're condemned, but we're losing our sense of time right now too, aren't we? All I know is that it's flying by too fast. For so long, I couldn't wait to be finished with my teaching career. Now, barreling full speed and out of control toward the finish line, all I want to do is make it last. It's tough to tell the kids that I won't be back after Christmas, but they take it better than I expected. Maybe they already know the rumor mill is in middle school can be like that. They're the ones who changed everything for me, the unteachables. Ha! That's what happens when you put a closed-minded bully like Thaddeus, superintendent, in charge. It's a school district where wonderful students are tossed aside like the trash. Parker, the kid who has a reading problem, nothing more. The fact that no teacher ever bothered to find out says more against the Greenwich schools than any cheating scandal. Barnstorm, who look at what they let him get away with because he happened to be a sports star. He never learned how to work before because he never had to. Elaine, I'm guilty as anybody else for taking so long to figure out that Elaine is smart, and she is. She's also good at hiding it. Her reputation doesn't help. But, come here, baby. Oh, sorry, guys. Thomas had to get in on the party. Her reputation doesn't help, but teachers are supposed to see around things like that. Mateo, the school jumped to conclusions about the kid's quirky personality. They wrote him off. He deserves better. And here's Chance. There he is. Hi, guys. That's Chance. Raheem was allowed to sleep and doodle through 6th and 7th grade before he was dumped into SCS 8. Today, he's an absolute star over at the community college. But what's more important is how well he's doing in 8th grade. Aldo might be the only one who belongs in SCS 8, but he's come a long, long way. He passed that science test, and the fact that he did isn't half as amazing as the fact that he even bothered to try. Finally, Kiana. She never had any business being in this class. She just drifted in and stayed. And not a single faculty member, myself included, bothered to look into who she was and what she was doing there. True, it worked out in the end. Kiana is a huge part of what went right in room 117. But she could just as easily have fallen through the cracks, and all her potential would have been wasted. What's going to happen to the kids on December 22nd when I have to leave? Kiana will be fine. She'll be back in California, and anyways, a bright girl like that will find a way to succeed wherever she ends up. But what about the others? Will the class get a real teacher, or will they get a replacement? Or will the replacement be a babysitter? Or worse, a warden? It's too easy to see the progress of the past weeks being rolled back. Christina will try to do the right by the students. Remember, that's the principal. Sorry, my phone is falling. Wow, I have a really interesting setup. You would laugh. Kitty litter box with a shoe box with my pop socket. Yeah, funny. Anyway, I'll just scrunch down a little bit. But in the end, Dr. Thaddeus calls the shots. He might even kibosh the trips to Terra Nova Motors, which means so much to the kids. It hurts to admit it, but the transformation from SCS 8 could never have happened without Jake. Part of it's the field trips, the time away from school. For kids like Aldo and Parker, the things they learned about cars are among the first things they ever learned, period. Or at least learned without hating it. It might have started out as Jake trying to make up for his misdeeds of 27 years ago, but he's taken a real interest in those kids. And they know it. When someone cares about you, it's natural to respond. Strange that the man who used to be a 12-year-old Jake should star in my teaching rebirth. And his co-star? Even stranger, Emma Fountain, daughter of my fiancé who married someone else. Emma may be a fish out of water in middle school with her bucket filling and her good bunnies, but her energy and enthusiasm are boundless and pure. She awakened a love of teaching in me that was buried before she was even born. Lately, I've been covering Emma's class while she takes the SCS8 group over to the dealership. I can't bring myself to go there anymore. Do you remember? They're actually secretly there working on a science fair project. They're hoping that will save his job. I've made a kind of peace with Jake. Even started to like him a little, but it doesn't change the fact that he's the reason Dr. Thaddeus developed his grudge way back when. Better to stay here in room 115, running circle time and playing nursemaid to Vladimir, the lizard. Emma's students are okay. Most of them are there's just too many of them. 45 minutes go by, a bell rings, and a new crew is sitting there, looking exactly like the old crew. I can't tell them apart. Not like the Unteachables, who are so distinctive and full of personality. Nobody's likely to mistake Aldo or Elaine for any other middle schooler. As the weeks fly past and December 22nd looms closer, I savor my time with kids the way a gourmet lingers over a fine souffle. The class is spending so many afternoons at Terra Nova Motors that these days they're almost lost to me already. They have to leave on the minibus at 11 and barely make it back before the 3:30 bell. I read and reread Kiana's essays, lingering over her well-reasoned arguments. I relished the discussions with Elaine and Aldo as they work their way through Where the Red Fern Grows. Great book, remember? I listened for the faint sound of Parker whistling through his teeth, a surefire sign that he's reading without having to struggle over every word. I cherish these things because I know I won't have them much longer. At this point, every puffy tale I wore may as well be my last. At home, the walls of the apartment are closing in on me. It never bothered me before, but it's driving me crazy now. This is the future, kicking around these 2.5 rooms, 1 bath. I was planning to cash it in at the end of this year anyway, but with early retirement, I would have to be able to redecorate, maybe even move to a nicer place in a better part of town. For sure, I would have traveled. I might not have the money for that now. And anyway, I'm so down that I can't think of a single spot on this green earth that I'm interested in visiting. Of course, I could look for a new job. There are other schools in America, but Thaddeus has pretty much taken care of that. How do you explain to a prospective employer that you were fired for cause? Because Google search of the name Kermit Zachary will eventually spit out the words cheating scandal, and that'll be a deal breaker. Besides, at 55, I'm not exactly a spring chicken. Ooh, I love that idiom. Starting over from scratch isn't a very attractive option. Saturday morning, I shuffle into the kitchen to investigate the prospects of breakfast. A cheese stick and a semi-stale dinner roll. Ooh. I've stopped food shopping again. I was doing okay for a while, but the bad news jolted me into old ways. Oh well, with coffee, it should go down and stay there. Breakfast is interrupted by a series of clicks. It's the doorbell, or what would be the doorbell if the doorbell worked. Must be a mistake. Nobody ever comes to visit, and I haven't ordered anything. I pad barefoot to the door and peer through the peephole into the smiling face of Emma Fountain. What does she want at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning? She says, "Don't pretend you're not home, Mr. Kermit. I can hear you walking around in there." I open the door. "What brings you here so early?" "Well, I've come to give you a ride to the science fair," she replies, as if it's the most obvious thing in the world. "I'm not going to the science fair," I tell her. I'm not feeling very warm and fuzzy toward that school these days. "But you can't miss it," she pleads. "What about the kids?" "What kids? My kids? They won't be there. Nobody entered." She looks evasive. That means kind of like, that might not be exactly true. The coffee is getting cold. Of course it's true. I'm their teacher. Don't you think I would have noticed if one of them was working on a science project? They did it as a group. I repeat, not possible. She drops the bombshell. They've been working on it at the dealership. It strikes a chord. The frequent field trips to Terra Nova Motors, Emma accompanying the kids so I won't see what's going on. They've been doing this behind my back. It all fits except for one gigantic question. But why? "They did it for you," she announces. "For me? Why in a million years would they think I want them to?" Then I remember. That random district policy, 10 points added to the science scores of all winners. That would be enough to... They're trying to save my job? She beams. "Isn't it wonderful?" "No," I explode. "It means the kids blame themselves for what happened. How could they even know about the connection to their test results?" She studies the threadbare carpet. "You had no right to tell them," I rave. It's a gross violation of my privacy. Worse, it made them feel pressured to enter a science fair they have no chance of winning." "Don't be mad at them." "I'm not mad at them, Maxine. I'm mad at you. They could never do this on their own. You set them up, and you and that Terra Nova dimwit." "Jake loves you." Yeah, well, I tremble to see what would happen if he hated me." She puts on an expression I remember from Fiona, the "I'm not taking no for an answer" face. "Okay," Emma concedes, "so maybe we weren't totally upfront with you. But your kids are at school ready to present their project, and if you're not there to support them, you're never going to forgive yourself. She doesn't fight fair. Pour yourself a cup of coffee, I say. I'll get dressed. Surrender. Total and unconditional. I might as well get used to it. Jake is waiting outside in the Porsche. Hi, Mr. Kermit. Long time no see. I scowl at him. He is a partner in the deception and deserves no better. Plus, with an entire car dealership at his disposal, he chose to bring this motorized roller skate. For the students, I remind myself, squeezing into the tiny back seat. All the way to school, Jake keeps up a steady stream of conversation, ignoring frantic signals from Emma to keep his big mouth shut. How about those kids doing this project on their own, he enthuses. They're really something. I'm too angry to answer. It's also possible that I'm too contorted in the back seat to make any sound. I'm getting reacquainted with my knees, which are pressed up against my chest. When the Porsche reaches Greenwich Middle School, it takes the two of them to drag me out of the car. A banner over the front entrance declares, Greenwich Public School Science Fair District Championships. The parking lot is packed. The school halls bustle with students and parents. I forgot how popular the science fair is. I knew once, back when I cared about such things. Walking stiffly, zombie style, after the tight car ride, I lumber inside, following Emma and Jake into the gym, which is the epicenter. The large space is filled with long tables, and colorful displays stretch as far as the eye can see. Students stand like sentries at the front of their project, excited and nervous, ready to face the judges. It's been a rotten day so far, but as soon as I spot the kids of SCS 8, I feel the corners of my mouth turning upward. Even though I'm against this science fair idea 100%, I couldn't be more proud. My unteachables did this for me. Okay, I won't be their teacher for long, but I'm their teacher today, and I intend to act like it. Seeing me, their faces light up, and I smile wider. I must be losing my mind. A real teacher would be chewing them out, not beaming at them. I beam anyway because they look so thrilled with themselves. Kiana, Aldo, Barnstorm, Mateo, Raheem, and Elaine. I approach the group. Where's Parker? With his grandmother, Kiana supplies. You'll see him soon. Ooh, wait a minute. Do you think this has anything to do with his grandmother, like the project? Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that I'm not going to make it to at my 15 minutes. I'm going to stop. Please tune in to part 2 because I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to stop and make a new one.